Idealistic Romantic. The idealistic romantic is the true soul of any romantic comedy, a character who believes in love with a capital L and sees it literally everywhere around them, from chance encounters on the street to signs of fate in everyday details. They are convinced that fate will inevitably bring them together with their perfect soulmate, that the stars will inevitably point the right path, and that every chance encounter is not just a coincidence, but an important sign from above that cannot be ignored or missed. Their hearts beat to the rhythm of romantic ballads and classic love stories, and they are ready to do absolutely anything for love. Write long, touching letters full of emotion and confessions, stand in the pouring rain with a huge bouquet of flowers, waiting for a reply, run across the city to confess their feelings in time, or even move to the other side of the world to pursue their dreams, without considering the consequences. This type of hero infuses us with hope and optimism, even if their faith sometimes seems a bit naive, out of touch with reality, or even overly idealized. Think of Anna Scott, played by Julia Roberts in Notting Hill. Her sincere belief in love with a simple bookstore owner makes us dream of a similar happy ending, despite all the social and life obstacles that stand in her way. Or Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother, who searches for years for his one and only, experiencing countless failures, disappointments, and funny situations, but never giving up and continuing to believe in the ideal. Another striking example is Rose DeWitt Bukater from Titanic. Although it is not a pure comedy, her romantic belief in love with Jack resonates with this archetype, showing how idealism can overcome even tragedy. Their optimism is incredibly infectious, and even when their dreams are dashed by harsh reality, they find the strength to continue believing, inspiring others, and motivating them to pursue their own happiness. This type of hero always hopes that love exists, and it's this belief that makes them so charming, relatable. We root for them, because deep down, we too want to believe in fairy tales, and their stories remind us that love is a risk, but it's worth it, and sometimes, it's precisely this idealistic faith that leads to the most beautiful, touching, and memorable stories in cinema. Moreover, this archetype has evolved over time. In older films, they were more naive, while in modern films, they add depth, showing how idealism combines with real-life challenges, making the characters even more multifaceted. Jaded Realist. At the opposite extreme from the idealists stands the jaded realist, a hero who views love with a fair amount of skepticism, practicality, and even a certain weariness from previous disappointments. For them, romance is simply a pretty veneer, concealing disappointments, difficulties, inevitable compromises, and the realities of everyday life that often shatter illusions. They are witty, caustic, and often hide their true feelings behind sarcastic jokes or cynical remarks to avoid appearing vulnerable or weak in front of others. But beneath this protective armor always lurks a vulnerable heart that is simply afraid to trust again, to be broken, or to experience another failure. Their journey in the rom-com is a slow but touching unfolding as they learn to believe in love despite their fears, past hurts, and the skepticism they've accumulated over the years. A classic example is William Tucker, played by Hugh Grant in Notting Hill. His dry comments and hesitation at the beginning of the film gradually give way to genuine feelings when he realizes that Anna is his real chance at happiness, and he is ready to risk everything, including his comfort zone. Or Kat Stratford from 10 Things I Hate About You, who rejects romance because of her convictions and experience, but eventually gives in to Patrick's sincerity, showing how realism can evolve into something more open. Another option is Jane Nichols in 27 Dresses, who looks cynically at weddings and love after countless ceremonies, but finds her own story. Realists draw us in with their humanity. We see their internal struggles, their doubts, their gradual melting, and we rejoice when they finally open up and allow themselves to feel real emotions. They initially think love is too complicated and not worth the effort, but their transformation proves that even the most hardened skeptics can find their happily ever after, making their stories so inspiring for those who have experienced disappointments in real life. This archetype also adds depth to the plot, contrasting with the idealists and creating a dynamic that keeps viewers on the edge of their seats until the very end. Best friend. Best friend is that indispensable character without whom a romantic comedy simply wouldn't be the same, bringing humor, levity, and support, often saving the protagonists from their own follies, mistakes, and emotional crises. This type is a breath of fresh air in a tense plotline, adding comical situations, witty dialogue, absurd advice, and sometimes even unexpected twists that propel the story forward and prevent it from becoming too sentimental. They can be a voice of reason, offering wise yet ironic advice in moments of doubt, or Conversely, an instigator, pushing for crazy actions like sudden trips, bold confessions, or risky ideas. Their presence always makes the story more lively, relatable, funny, and multifaceted, preventing the plot from drowning in excessive melodrama or predictability. Think of Billy Crystal's Harry in When Harry Met Sally. His dialogue about love and friendship not only makes you laugh out loud, but also sets the philosophical tone for the entire film, making you question the boundaries between friendship and romance, and his lines have become quotable. Or George from My Best Friend's Wedding, played by Rupert Everett, who steals every scene with his charisma, support, comedic antics, and even helps the main character realize her feelings. Another example is Mindy Lahiri from The Mindy Project, who adds humor to her friend's romantic vicissitudes, creating unforgettable moments. Without these types of characters, the plot would be too serious, stale, and lacking in lightness, but their jokes, awkward moments, loyalty, and sometimes even their own subplots make them true supporting stars. They're like best friends in real life, always there to lift your spirits, give honest advice, or just laugh it off, and that's what makes them such a beloved audience and an integral part of the genre. Awkward hero. A awkward hero is that charming character who wins our hearts with their sincerity, endless mistakes, ability to turn failures into victories, and inexhaustible optimism. They drop things at the most inopportune moments, stumble over seemingly unrelated things, say the wrong thing during important conversations, and find themselves in absurd situations. But it's precisely these imperfections that make them so relatable, human, endearing, and relatable to viewers. Their path to love is a series of comical situations, where each mistake only brings them closer to a happy ending, demonstrating that imperfection is part of their charm and strength of character. They are unafraid to be vulnerable, to acknowledge their mistakes, and to learn from them, and this is their greatest strength, separating them from perfect, unattainable heroes. Think of Heath Ledger's Patrick Verona in 10 Things I Hate About You. His awkward yet sincere attempts to win Kat over are charming, especially the iconic scene with the song in the stands, which became an icon of the genre and showed how clumsiness can be a romantic gesture. Or Bridget Jones from Bridget Jones's Diary, who constantly finds herself in awkward situations, like showing up in a bunny costume at a party, or awkward encounters with her boss, but remains beloved for her honesty, relatable issues with self-esteem, and growth. Another example is Anna from the animated film Frozen. Although it's a fairy tale, her clumsiness in communication and actions resonates with this archetype. Their funny mistakes make them relatable and likable, and we can't help but root for them, knowing that their sincerity will eventually lead to love and self-acceptance. This type of hero reminds us that imperfection is normal, and that even the most awkward among us deserve a happy ending, inspiring us to embrace our real-life missteps and see them as opportunities for growth. Confident is that charismatic character who immediately draws everyone's attention, sets hearts racing, and dominates every scene. Their dazzling smile, steady gaze, confident gait, and ability to take control of a situation and inspire others make them the star of not only the film, but also our imaginations. They know what they want and pursue it with unmatched determination, whether it's love, a career, any other goal, or even changing the world around them. Their energy is infectious, including the audience. But behind their outward strength, self-assurance, and leadership qualities, there's often a deep vulnerability that reveals itself toward the end, adding depth, humanity, and emotional complexity to the character. Think of Noah Calhoun from The Notebook, played by Ryan Gosling. His passion, determination, and romantic gestures, like building a dream home or sending daily letters, captivate not only ally, but also viewers, making him a romantic icon. Or Samantha Jones from Sex and the City, whose confidence makes her an icon of style, independence, character, and feminine strength. Another example is Vivian Ward from Pretty Woman, who confidently transforms her life despite her background. These characters immediately capture attention and hearts, but their true magic lies in the moments when they allow themselves to be vulnerable, show emotion, and prove that even the strong need love and support. They make us dream of the same self-confidence, but their humanity reminds us that even celebrities can doubt love, need a partner, and grow through relationships. Underestimated. The underestimated is the humble hero, who goes unnoticed or dismissed at the beginning of the story, but who ultimately proves their worth, strength, and uniqueness. They may seem ordinary, unnoticeable, sometimes even a loser in the eyes of others or society, but they harbor inner strength, talent, heart, and potential that emerges at the decisive moment, changing everything around them. Their stories are true triumphs over circumstances, social expectations, self-deprecation, and prejudice, and we love rooting for them because their victory feels so well-deserved, inspiring, and just. Think of Stanley Ipkiss from The Mask, played by Jim Carrey, a humble bank clerk who transforms into a confident, charismatic hero through love, the magic of a mask, and his own inner courage, defeating villains and winning hearts. Or Lanny Boggs from She's the Man, who emerges from the shadows to prove himself worthy of attention, love, and success. Another example is Peter Parker in the romantic arcs of Spider-Man, where his outsider status adds depth and makes him relatable. This type of hero inspires us to believe in ourselves because they show that even when the whole world is against you or ignores you, you can win if you stay true to yourself, work hard, and use your hidden talents. Everyone thought he couldn't handle it, but in the end, he wins not only the heart of his beloved, but also the respect of everyone around him, reminding us that real heroes often come from unexpected places and change the rules of the game. Rival. A rival is the fuel for drama, tension, and emotional upheaval in romantic comedies, and the rival is a key player in this gripping game, without whom the plot would lose its edge. This character creates conflict, intrigue, and jealousy, forcing the protagonists to fight for love, make difficult decisions, grow, and realize their true feelings. They may be charming, successful, even seemingly perfect with a good job, good looks, good manners, and stability, but they often turn out to be the wrong person for the protagonist, lacking depth, sincerity, or compatibility. Their presence adds spice to the plot, keeps us guessing who will ultimately win this battle of the hearts, and heightens the emotional tension. Think of James Marsden's Lon Hammond from The Notebook. He seems like the perfect suitor for Ally, with wealth, status, and stability, but he loses out to Noah's true passionate love, highlighting the contrast. Or Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl, whose charisma, intrigue, ambition, and complex character make the love stories so gripping and unpredictable. Another example is Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Though it's a fairy tale, his role as the rival is classic, adding comedy and drama. Without these types, a love story would be too simple, straightforward, predictable, and lacking in tension, but their presence makes us care about every choice the characters make, adding emotional depth and realism. They are the catalyst that makes the ending even sweeter, more satisfying, and more memorable, showing that true love triumphs over superficial alternatives and helps the characters understand themselves. Eccentric Hero. An eccentric hero is a vibrant, unconventional character who stands out from the crowd with their quirks, unusual lifestyle, unique perspective, and complete freedom from stereotypes. They may wear bright, extravagant clothes, speak in riddles, live by their own rules, ignoring social norms, expectations, and conventions, but this is precisely what makes them so captivating, fresh, inspiring, and unique. Their individuality is their superpower, helping them find love, overcome obstacles, captivate audiences with their authenticity, and add color to the plot. Think of Summer Finn, played by Zooey Deschanel in 500 Days of Summer. Her quirks, from her love of unusual music, films, and books, to her unpredictable behavior, make her unforgettable and force Tom to re-examine his life, values, and expectations of relationships. Or Amélie Poulain from Amélie, whose eccentric kindness, imagination, little tricks, and creative ways to help people transform her story into a true fairy tale of love, self-discovery, and the magic of everyday life. Another example is Manny Delgado from Modern Family, whose eccentric habits and views add humor to the family's romantic plots. These characters teach us that being yourself is cool, and their quirks make them so unique and memorable. We love them because they are not afraid to be different, to break the mold, to live life to the fullest, and to inspire others to do the same, and their stories remind us that love often comes to those who are true to themselves, even if that means being a little strange in the eyes of society, or even causing confusion. Conclusion: here's our detailed tier list of the 8 types of heroes that make romantic comedies so beloved, relatable, heartwarming, and timeless. From idealistic romantics who believe in destiny and inspire us to dream big, to eccentric oddballs who break all the molds and teach us to be ourselves, each adds their own unique spark to the genre, making us laugh, cry, worry, believe in love, and keep coming back. These characters are like old friends who remind us that in life, just like in movies, there's room for humor, mistakes, growth, and happy endings. Who's your favorite? Let us know in the comments. Tell us about your favorite character or the movie that made you believe in love, or share your own story where you felt like one of these types. Subscribe to the channel to explore other genres and hero types, give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and let's continue exploring the magic of cinema together, where love always finds its way. despite all the obstacles and twists.